Tariq Melrose here. Today's big announcement had all the drama of a movie trailer, but none of the plot. What they called action was actually deflection. What they called leadership, well, let's just say I've seen better from substitute teachers. But we're not just watching, we're dissecting. Subscribe if you want more than headlines. You want the real story.
Trump's DHS is deporting people without due process, ignoring the Constitution, court orders, and even proof of life. Watch the shocking exchange that exposes just how far Trump's DHS is willing to go to violate due process and human rights.
If service to this committee, please reach out to us. And again, thank you for the work that you and President Trump are doing.
Appreciate
I yield
that.
back.
Thank you.
Gentleman yields. I now, I think, recognize our last member making comments today. Mr. Garcia, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here, Madam Secretary. And you said that you're committed to complying with the Constitution, which we, of course, all appreciate and think is important. Now, we all know that the Fifth Amendment states, and I just want to be very clear, that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The Fifth Amendment. Just to be clear in a simple yes or no, this actually says person. Is that correct, Madam Secretary?
Correct.
Thank you. And you are aware that person has been defined by the Supreme Court repeatedly, multiple times, means citizens and non-citizens. Simple yes or no, is that correct?
Correct, I believe.
Thank you. In an April 7th ruling just recently, the Supreme Court has reaffirmed, and I'll quote, "It is well established that the Fifth Amendment entitles aliens to due process under the law in the context of removal proceedings." But of course, the Department deported 230 people to be imprisoned indefinitely in a brutal prison. We've deported U.S. citizens, as noted today, children without constitutional protections. We've illegally arrested students. And we know that just one of these students was released just last week, and you were mandated to do so. Now, the Fifth Amendment is clear. Madam Secretary, you committed to uphold the Constitution. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And you now, of course, commit to following the Fifth Amendment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, Madam Secretary, you are violating that amendment as we speak, and you are breaking your oath. You are deporting people, and the department is deporting people without due process. We cannot deport U.S. citizens. Without due process, there is nothing that Donald Trump could essentially be stopped in grabbing people off the street. That's happening today. Now, maybe someone in government might not like your tattoos. Maybe they don't like how somebody votes. Maybe they don't want to see how someone represents your constituents in Congress. But if you can't see a judge, no one can protect you. And I hope that you and I and everyone here can agree with that. And apparently, not even the Supreme Court actually matters when it comes to the case, of course, of Kilmar Garcia. But let's remember that we're not just deporting people, we're sending some of them to be locked up in one of the most dangerous prisons in the world. Now, Madam Secretary, you've heard this case today, but I have to speak about it one more time. I think it's really important. This is Andrew Romero. He had an appointment to come to this country to claim asylum. We gave him that appointment. The United States government gave him his asylum appointment. He comes for his appointment. He passes a credible fear interview. He's a gentle person as described by his family. He's openly gay. He was leaving his country for persecution of being gay. He did everything right, claimed asylum, that was legal. And then we sent him to a dangerous prison at the border with no due process. There are claims about his tattoos. He has his parents' names on his tattoos and 2 crowns that relate to a festival back in his hometown. We are paying to lock this young gentleman up forever. What I would ask is the ambassador in El Salvador, we have asked for proof of life of Andrew. He has had no access to lawyers or family since he has been taken over a month now. No one knows if he's even alive. His mother just wants to know if he is alive. So my ask to you, Madam Secretary, is the same that I asked the ambassador. Can we do a proof of life check on Andrew just to see if he is alive?
Congressman, we are utilizing the tools that Congress has given us to apply due process to individuals. We are doing that for every person, and we are making sure that we're following what you have given us as far as guidance and how things should be implemented.
Would you commit to just letting his mother know, as a mother to mother, if Andrew is alive? He was given an asylum appointment by the United States government. We gave him an appointment. We said, Andrew, come to the border at this time to claim asylum. He was taken to a foreign prison in El Salvador. His mother just wants to know if he is alive. Can we check and do a wellness check on him?
Our asylum applications are different than the granting of asylum, and I don't know the specifics of this individual case. This individual is in El Salvador, and the appeal would be best made to the president and to the government of El Salvador on this.
We've
This
made
is
that.
not under my jurisdiction. and I
Madam
don't
Secretary,
have-
you have said that CCOT in El Salvador is one of the tools in the toolbox that you have. You have said that and has been quoted as saying that. You and the president have the ability to check if Andrew is alive and if he's not being harmed. Would you commit at least into looking and asking El Salvador if he is alive?
This is a question that's best asked to the president and the government of El Salvador.
And I think you know very well that you could ask that question. What you are choosing to do, Madam Secretary, is disregard this young man's life, this young man's family, who was given an appointment by the United States. I think it is shameful that you won't even request to see if this young man is alive. His family has no idea, has no access to lawyers. I would hope that we would have the humanity to just check if this young man is okay. With that, I yield back. It's shameful.
Gentleman yields. I think we've covered everyone. Mr. Rankin.
They gave him an asylum appointment, then deported him to a foreign prison without a lawyer, a trial, or even a phone call. If you're not angry yet, just wait. Let's be absolutely clear. This is not immigration policy. This is state-sponsored kidnapping with a bureaucratic smile. We are talking about a man who followed every rule. He checked in, he showed up, he complied, and then, boom, vanished into a system that has turned cruelty into a governing philosophy. The Trump-era DHS has mastered the art of using process to destroy people. Not through laws, not even through executive orders, but through outright institutional sabotage. The right to habeas corpus is enshrined in the Constitution. It's the foundation of any system that dares to call itself a democracy. But under this regime, it's just another line to skip, just another thing to erase. And don't you dare think this is a mistake. It's a strategy, one that allows government agents to sweep people off the street, toss them in detention, and pretend the courts don't matter. When asked about it, the DHS secretary offered the constitutional equivalent of a shrug. Couldn't define habeas corpus, couldn't defend due process, couldn't even fake concern. What's more infuriating is the cold, calculated confidence. They know they won't be held accountable. They've built a machine designed to prey on the most vulnerable, people with accents, brown skin, no papers, no power, and they count on the fact that most Americans won't hear about it or won't care if they do. This is where authoritarianism begins, not with a military coup, but with a paperwork shuffle, a missed court date, a deleted name, a transfer to a place with no record, no hearing, no lawyer. It's how democracies die, not with a bang, but with a budget line item and a rubber stamp. And speaking of budgets, let's talk about what this administration actually chooses to spend money on. While they slash Medicaid, cut food assistance, and gut public education, they drop $50 million on a luxury jet for Homeland Security. Let that sink in. A private plane for officials who say there's no money for asylum lawyers, no money for mental health support, no money for kids sleeping on concrete. But somehow, there's always money for cruelty, always a blank check for militarization. They'll tell you it's about security, but what they really fear is accountability. The last thing they want is an immigrant with a lawyer, or a journalist with a camera, or a senator with a conscience. And let's not forget the algorithmic accomplices. Social media platforms amplify xenophobia for profit, feeding MAGA lies straight into millions of living rooms. Meanwhile, desperate families get deported in silence. They vanish, and the only trace left is a headline no one reads and a file no one opens. This isn't a failure of the system. It is the system, built by design to criminalize presence, erase humanity, and rewrite what rights mean. Depending on your passport or your pigmentation, the Democrats in this hearing weren't just asking questions, they were sounding alarms. They were defending the last few inches of constitutional ground left standing. And the GOP, they were either stone silent or busy changing the subject to Hunter Biden. We are watching a government bend toward tyranny in real time. And if you think this ends with immigrants, think again. Once a government learns it can disappear people without consequences, it's only a matter of time before the target list expands. This isn't about left versus right. It's about rule of law versus rule by fear. Democracy versus the authoritarian creep. And if you're not fighting it, you're enabling it. So speak up, show up, call it out, before habeas corpus becomes just another Latin phrase we used to believe in. Thanks for watching. If this made you angry, good. That means you're still paying attention. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tariq Melrose Vlogs, because staying silent was never an option.